Whew, okay. This is a good one, all right? SBSs are always kind of hit or miss. Sometimes we get more joke entries than others. The last one, SBS 96, that was a while back. There was a bit of a delay for the Tankobons because of, like, the fact that this is 2020 and everything is delayed. SBS 96 I think was pretty good. But this one, SBS 97, this is a really, really good one. The only thing I could possibly think that would be better than this is a nice steaming hot muffin that's, just coincidentally sitting right here on my desk. Check it out. Come right out of the oven. My mom made these, and they're blueberry, blackberry, and I think raspberry muffin, just like mixed all together. Just Oh, berry muffin. Okay, I offer this as tribute to you and your majesty, Berry. Okay, moving on to Shitsumon Oboshu Suru. That's the actual term for, Shitsumon Oboshu Suru, SBS. I'm taking questions. That's where that comes from. It's a Japanese Tankobon Q&A kind of thing. All right. Got my laptop right here. We're going to queue them up. These are coming right off of the Reddit. Let's just tackle the big one first, the one that everybody immediately was like, what? So let's tackle that one first, shall we? Okay. This is a question regarding the end of One Piece, which coincidentally was actually one of the entries on the list. I was going to make a separate video talking about how the statement that One Piece only has about 5 years left. So I didn't expect that to be actually directly addressed by Oda in the next SBS. So I get to kind of knock out an SBS video and one of the list videos in one thing here. But yeah, there was a statement a couple weeks back that's like, yeah, One Piece is going to be ending in about 5 years. Now, statements on when One Piece is ending, or how many years are left, or what percentage the story is completed, I mean, those have been popping up every few years we get those. But this one seems to have a little bit more of credulity to it, and I always assumed One Piece, like, I was, ballparking it somewhere between 3 to 4 years. So 5 years is actually higher than, the expectations I get, longer than I thought that it was going to go on. Oda, is it true that One Piece will end in 5 years? Even if that's the case, a public statement like that is really vexing for the fans. I don't really think it is, honestly. I mean, what would you rather prefer? Would you prefer there to be an announcement that One Piece is going to be ending in X number of years? Or would you prefer something similar to, like, Bleach, where it's like, 6 chapters left, then it's over, bye! I would prefer this. I mean, you gotta prepare people, especially considering this is in, serialization for 23 years. This is the most popular manga in the world right now. When One Piece ends, that's gonna be, like, a really big event. That's probably gonna be on, like, all the major news stations and stuff. Like, this big thing is finally over, right? So I would probably prefer there to be like, hey, 5 years we're gonna be done, and then like 3 years from now it's gonna be 2 years, and then like, 6 months we're ending it soon, we're getting into the last stage of this story that I'm gonna be drawing and writing as Oda. So I would prefer it. I don't think it's that vexing. I think it's the appropriate thing that you should do. It's just like many friends of mine who burst into tears when they read this sudden announcement. I feel like shouting, how could you do this to us? Okay, this might be a little bit, like hyperbolic just for the sake of the question. But Oda responds thusly. He says, by ending the story, what I mean is the juiciest part of Luffy's adventure. So it seems to be what he's implying here is that in 5 years' time, or around 5 years' time, I don't think Oda's gonna be, like, exact down to the day. This is manga we're talking about. It's not an exact science. Unless you're talking about Dr. Stone, which involves a lot of science. Point is, though, in around 5 years, Oda says that that's going to be the juiciest part of Luffy's story. So that's where we're going to find out what the One Piece is, probably the whole deal with the Void Century, probably the most, like, intense battles, reaching Laugh Tale, all the ancient weapons. Oda doesn't go into detail with every single one of those things, but, I think he's setting it up that, like, in 5 years' time, we're gonna probably have all of the major questions in the One Piece world answered. That's the way I took this. But he doesn't mean that, like, in 5 years, like, so in 2025, I guess, in 2025, that is exactly when the One Piece manga is going to end. Many people have interpreted this to mean that it was going to be it's going to be an epilogue sort of deal. So there's going to be like the big juicy part of Luffy's adventure, the climax, so to speak, of that. But then still we might have maybe a few chapters or a little mini arc of an epilogue. A lot of people are thinking that that's properly how One Piece is going to end. Oda goes on to say that if Luffy does manage to make it out of Wano in one piece, that we'll get a development that will engulf the entire world. Now, this has been hinted at quite a bit, that this is going to be like some greater war beyond even Marineford. Make Marineford look like the kiddie pool. You know, this war is going to be huge. Going to get everybody involved in this, right? That's something that's been discussed for a while. Even Doflamingo kind of brought that up. He called it like the Throne Wars. When Doflamingo got thrown in level 6, he was just like, who really controls the world right now? You know, he was talking to Osuru, and he's like, who controls the world, Osuru? Is it the Supernovas, or is it one of the Yonko? No, it's the Marines right now, but that's only tentative. You know, that's going to change in the coming months or years. There's going to be a battle the likes of which you've never seen before. And so I think that was Oda's first hint, like through Doflamingo, like, yeah, there's something very, very, very big coming. So I don't know if that refers to, like, you know, because Oda says here, like, after Wano, if Luffy manages to make it out alive, which I don't know about that. That's, oh, you think Luffy's going to make it out of Wano? Luffy just dies, and we're like, well, Kaido, you know, Kaido won. He killed Luffy. Guess the main character is Zoro from now on. I'm like, well, I guess that could work. I mean, I'm not saying I would stop reading. It's just like, you know, Luffy's gonna make it out of Wano alive. Of course he will. You know, I have to say, I said that what I had to say so the readers' hearts would be prepared, since it'll be such a long arc. Yeah, no duh. Like, obviously, the final big climactic arc of One Piece is probably going to be the longest arc in the entire story. Probably even longer than Dressrosa or Wano was. Well, Wano is still ongoing, of course. You know what I just realized the other day? This happened a while back, but Wano has already eclipsed Totland. That's like, Totland was like 75 chapters around there, Totland, and Wano, I think, is like around 80 right now. You know, it's probably going to be easily longer than Dressrosa, which is crazy to me because it doesn't seem like that much time has passed. Like, I remember reading the beginning of Wano and like reviewing that. That was back in 2018, but it feels like it doesn't feel that long ago, right? It's just like, wow, we are approaching, like, chapter 1009 will be 100 chapters of Wano, and if it continues beyond that, which I'm assuming it will, you know, it'll be longer than that. It'll be longer than Dressrosa, and then it'll be the longest arc in all of One Piece, but it just doesn't feel that long, really. This is going by so fast. You know, and one that will really pin things toward the finish line. That being said, I'm really enjoying writing Wano right now, and I'm pumped to finish it. So I think at the end of the day, what Oda's really saying there is like, look, this is gonna end at some point. I'm right now setting it at around 5 years. Maybe it'll be a little bit less. Maybe it'll be a little bit more. It'll be around 5 years where you'll find everything out. But for right now, we're in Wano. We're still in the middle of this. We're not even done with Act 3 of Wano yet. Still got 2 acts left. We still have the big fight with Kaido, which really, I mean, it started, but it hasn't really gotten to the full, you know, that climax yet. So I think Oda's was just saying, like, look, I had to say this because you don't want it to be like, oh, by the way, One Piece is ending in the next year. I mean, that would really make people freak out. So yeah, like I said, though, it's lasting longer than I originally figured. So if Oda can really do it 5 years, you know, make it to 2025 with like this final big arc, does that mean there's going to be an arc in between Wano, or are we just going to cut to this? You know, Wano started in, I think, June of 2018. Here we are in September of 2020, so that's already, you know, a little bit over 2 years, and we're approaching around 100 chapters of Wano. So how long is this final arc going to be? I mean, it would have to be at least 2, probably closer to 3 years for the final arc alone. You could probably fit something else in there quick, like maybe a little mini Elbaf arc. I really want them to go to Elbaf, so I'm like, you can fit that Elbaf. It doesn't have to be a long arc. I would prefer it to be, but you could fit like a 30-chapter Elbaf arc, right? You know, but that's the big question. That was the big thing, and I would say it has more credulity here because Oda is directly referencing this question in an SBS. You know, there's been, like I said, there's been a lot of other stuff through the editors over the years that say One Piece is 75% done, or One Piece has 3 to 4 years left. This is like one of the first times I actually know Oda directly taking up his pen and being like, okay, I need to address this in an SBS directly. But okay, so there was that, and now moving on from that very serious question to pretty much a complete 180, M. Delusion asks,
Oda, the other day I ate the itchy no mi model crotch, and it's really itchy now. And Oda's just like, yeah, okay. Moving on. It's like, personally, I think you shouldn't treat Oda as WebMD. You should probably go see a doctor, okay? You might have to get some kind of ointment or type of powder. I'm not really sure, but you should get that checked, bro. Seriously. All right. Oda, pleased to meet you. The introduction of the Flying Six, the Tobi Roppo in Chapter 978 was so cool. I just had to write in. I'm sure many people are asking, what are their ages, what are their heights, and what are their favorite foods? Because we gotta know the favorite food of every single character in this story. That wasn't sarcasm. I legitimately want to know what kind of food X-Drake loves to eat, and that's actually chicken rice. He likes rice with chicken. I think that was already revealed earlier. But as for the other Tobi Roppo, which I'm sure a lot of people are on the edge of their seats for, Who's Who is the oldest member of the Tobi Roppo. He is 38 years old. He is 336 centimeters, so he's like 3.3 meters tall. Pretty tall dude. That's taller than like Brook in like the one in the Straw Hats. Let's see. And his favorite food is crab paella. That's the only thing on here I've never heard of before, but I looked it up, and I like crab. I mean, I like, personally, the giant metal crab theory, but regular crab is very tasty as well. So that's Who's Who. I also said in the video I made yesterday about my favorite side characters that that kind of also debunks the whole, like, Geen is gonna be Who's Who. Geen, the man-demon from Krieg's crew. You know, Who's Who's gonna take off the helmet. It's like, it was Geen the whole time! Geen is, I believe, 27 years old right now, and Who's Who is 38. So that kind of throws a wrench into that idea, but hey, it was worth a shot, right? Black Maria is 8.2 meters tall. It doesn't surprise anybody. She is the tallest out of all of the Tobi Roppo. We do get the official height here, so she is actually shorter than Big Mom. I originally thought they were probably going to be around the same height. Big Mom is 8.8 meters, I believe. So around the same height, but Black Maria is a little shorter. The whole situation with that. She's 29 years old, and her favorite food is skewed dango. So that's just pretty cool. Or mitarashi dango, which is like really tasty. It's like sweet soy sauce covered with like the mochi, like the dango. So that's that. Then we have Sasaki, who's also 3 meters tall roughly, and he's 34 years old. His favorite food is asparagus. Love asparagus. I was at a party, I think it was actually, it was before everything went crap, but I was at a party and they had like a bunch of asparagus there they roasted in the oven, and I've never really had asparagus before. Freaking delicious. Try asparagus. Delicious. You can even mix it with cheese, which lowers the health option, but my god is it good! Sprinkle some garlic powder on there and some Parmesan. Oh my god, it's so good. But yeah, so Sasaki, you're a winner in my book now with the asparagus. I love that. Ulti is 22 years old, and she is 1.7 meters tall, about the same height as Page 1 and Luffy, so they're like normal human like heights. So she's 22, she's Page 1's older sister. We kind of already knew that. Page 1 is 20, and he's the youngest out of the Tobi Roppo. I'm just going to assume Page 1 is probably the weakest member, which makes sense because Page 1 was like one of the first introduced alongside Drake. We already knew about Drake before Wano, so it makes sense that when Oda introduced the Flying Six, the Tobi Roppo, when they fought against Sanji, here's like, okay, here's Drake that we're already acquainted with, and then here's Page 1, who is like the youngest or the weakest out of the group, and so he can turn into a Spinosaur. There's actually another question revolving around him being a Spinosaur later in the SBS. But yeah, so Ulti's 22, her favorite food is twisted fries, which or twisted potatoes, and I forgot what those were at first. I'm like, what the hell is a twisted potato? And I looked into it, and it's actually these things. You've definitely had these before if you've ever went to like a carnival or a festival or like a county fair or something. Love these things. They're delicious. Oh my god, this SBS is making me so damn hungry. I need to get recipes for these and make these later. My god, look at that. It's so good. What's Page 1's favorite food? Page 1's favorite food is nachos. Nachos are good. Now look, we've all had just standard nachos and cheese like this. It's okay, it's fine, it's good, it's good like bar food or whatever, but then you get nachos like extra level like this. I need to make these. Damn, these look good. Alright, so, and then finally we have Drake. Drake is 2.3 meters tall, so pretty tall dude. He's more comparable to, like, Brook, and, he's 33, and his favorite food is chicken rice. This is, I think, for Drake, this is stuff that we probably already knew about, but there's the hot info on the Tobi Roppo that I'm sure you were all I'm sure you were all sitting there awake at night, staring into the darkness of your room, like, what is Sasaki's favorite food? I need to know what Sasaki's favorite food is, but now it's asparagus, so you can sleep soundly tonight. Alright, who has the bigger head? Fuku Rokuju or Vice Admiral Strawberry? I love that we get a reference to Strawberry. Strawberry is the Vice Admiral. We don't get to see him very often, but he is this dude. The dude with a forehead, with a head so long. I love in the Treasure Cruise artwork, and I don't play Treasure Cruise, but I use a lot of the artwork for videos, and it makes great, like, thumbnails and stuff. His head is so big, they couldn't even include it in the Treasure Cruise artwork. They have to obscure it. And so he's like, well, Fuku Rokuju, he also has a really large, like, forehead, so who wins the forehead battle if the two were ever to clash in pitched combat, in the fighting pit, and in the forehead pit? And it's Vice Admiral Strawberry. Oda just comes out and confirms, and he's like, yeah, and he adds a little caveat onto this. It's Vice Admiral Strawberry. It is said that his head grows more every time he gets sad. Oh my god. Strawberry, good lord, Oda. What kind of backstory are you building for this man? We don't know much about Strawberry. We don't really know anything about Strawberry. I think Strawberry was seen in the past when Arlong was being captured and the whole Fisher Tiger thing was happening. I think we see him in the past there. His head's not quite as big, but every time you see Strawberry, he doesn't look like, look at him. Does he look happy? Does he look like a happy guy? This is a man that has looked into the depths of the evil of every single human being on the planet. This is the man that truly understands what it is to be in the One Piece world. All right? He's like, I know everything. I know how corrupted the Marines are. I know about Im-sama ruling the world. I know about the Great Purges. I know what happened during the Void Century. I know literally, I've in-tuned myself with every sad backstory on this entire planet. I know about Chopper's backstory. I know about Jinbei's backstory. I know about... My head grew 3 feet alone just from Brook's backstory. Yeah, and we still don't know, like, how... Like, because his head is so big, we don't, like, even getting, like, images of him for this video, it's kind of hard to see it in full view because it's so damn tall. It might reach the stratosphere for all we know, right? So yeah, if you ever want to reach the moon in One Piece and you don't have an arc of like Maxim, just get Strawberry to sit down and then just tell him the saddest stories one after another. And he's like, that's really sad. And then you just climb up his forehead and reach the moon. And then that's how they're going to fight Eneru. Yep. Or other option, that might also how the Revolutionary Army launches a full-scale attack on Marijois. You could just get Strawberry to, like... Yeah, that's how that works. Let's see. Oh, this is a fun one. This is in response to how Oda, remember when he drew the physical manifestations of all of Zoro's swords? Like, draw Shusui, draw the Sandai Katetsu in human form and the Wado, and Oda did it, like their Zanpakuto spirits from Bleach, right? And, they're like, what about Luffy's Straw Hat? Draw Luffy's Straw Hat, like, as, and anthropomorphize it, you know, make it a human being. And he did that, and of course, this is Oda we're talking about here, so don't think of, like, it's gonna be, like, a really serious character or anything, like, really badass or whatever. But this is Luffy's Straw Hat, brought into human form. Yeah, featuring the scar on his forehead from the, remember when Buggy stabbed the Straw Hat with his knives and Nami stitched it back up. The stitch marks are kind of present. Remember the last scene of the, right before the time skip happened, like chapter 597, the very last panel, where Luffy takes off his hat and he rests it on that one safe, like, rock on Ruskaina before he starts training with Rayleigh. You see, like, the close-up of the Straw Hat right before the time skip begins, and you see the Vivre card with Rayleigh in the band, but then you also see the stitch mark still on the Straw Hat. Like, Oda put specific detail there. So Oda remembers the stitches are there, probably more so than a lot of the fans, because I forget they're there half the time. And what Luffy's Straw Hat is saying to him is, like, no matter what happens, no matter what battles we face, we will always do it together. So the Straw Hat and Luffy, They have a bond that cannot be shattered. Luffy's had the Straw Hat for so long, it's probably his most persistent physical object that he owns. Him and that Straw Hat will be bonded till the end of time, right? And that actually got me started to think, like, what is my most persistent physical object? This is a nice little exercise. I would like all of you to kind of go and think about this seriously. Like, what is the thing that you have owned the longest that you've, like, used? And, like, it doesn't have to necessarily be a tool, but something that you use. Like, I was thinking about it, and I'm, like, looking around my room, and I'm like, okay, this is the same room I've had my entire life. So I'm like the curtains. Like, curtains that doesn't really count, because what do you use the curtains for? So I thought about everything, and it's remarkable because so much stuff, you know, changes throughout the years, you know, like different TV, different computers, you know, just like what's the thing that I've probably owned the longest, right? And I think I figured it out. I narrowed it down to this comb. This is the comb I think that my parents bought when my hair was like long enough to comb. I was a blonde kid back in the day. If I can find a picture of me when I was like 2 or 3 years old with like long hair, I had like poofy blonde hair. This is the comb, and I still use it. So yeah, this is probably my most persistent object. So it's the internet. So somebody anthropomorphized my comb. Like, oh god, why did I ask that? I'm like, it's the internet. Did you see? There was a black hole in the depths of space. I'm like, oh, we're gonna make this sexy. I'm like, okay. So this is like, but that's an interesting exercise. Go around in your own personal life, and obviously, like, the younger you are, the more likely you might have something that you've had since like childhood. But the older you are, like, oh wow, this is something that, you know, I might have had for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, or something like that. So think about that in your life. It makes you wonder. All right, moving on. We have, why do people despise the Kozuki clan still in the current Wano? Because didn't Shinobu clear up the misunderstanding? Remember when Odin was being boiled in the pot and everybody was kind of shitting on him? And then Shinobu spoke up and just like, that's the man that saved all your lives! He danced like a fool to save you all! Why do people, even still though, 20 years later, still treat the Kozuki clan poorly, or treat them like they're pariahs, essentially? And, I mean, this isn't really a hard question to answer, even with Shinobu clearing it up at that point, at that time, even though the people watching Odin's execution were like, Odin actually turned out to be a nice guy. This is talking about 20 years of just propaganda on Orochi's end of like, the Kozuki clan are evil! The Kurozumi clan will lead us into a new era! I am Lord Orochi! You know, like, it sucks I can't do the Orochi voice anymore because he's dead. Well, screw it, I'll still do it. Even if we get to Laugh Tale, I'll be like, and I am Lord Orochi, back from the dead! Ooh! Are the Straw Hats going to find Laugh Tale? That's what I should do. It should be, they should replace the narrator in One Piece with my Orochi voice. It's like, ooh, next time on One Piece, Luffy fights against the mighty Blackbeard. Will he succeed? I don't know. I am Lord Orochi. Bye, everyone. You know, see you next time. Kaizoku Oni, Oriwa Naru. But what the hell was I talking about? Oh, the Kozuki clan, right? So it's all the indoctrinations, like Orochi controls the education system, you know, so all of the kids grow up learning that the Kozuki clan are evil. If anybody tries to like, oh, the Kozuki clan were actually not that bad, you know, they're gonna get freaking assassinated. So yeah, Shinobu did clear it up at that point in time, but just 20 years of this bullcrap, it doesn't matter, it's gonna be suppressed again, right? Now, of course, there were still loyal followers of Kozuki and, like, retainers and stuff, like Jubaemon and everybody, but, you know, they have to live in secret, because they can't let anybody know that they actually, you know, support the Kozukis, or otherwise they're gonna get executed, too. So, that's the whole story there. Let's see. I heard a few months ago that it was discovered that page 1's fruit, the Spinosaur, actually swam in the ocean. So there was like some anthropological like updates, and this happens all the time. Like remember back in like Jurassic Park when it's like, oh, that's a T-Rex, and it's like, no, T-Rexes probably had feathers. And now I even think they're going back on that again. Like, did they have feathers? Did dinosaurs have feathers? I don't even know anymore. But the point is, there's still a lot about dinosaurs and like, you know, extinct species that we just don't know a lot about. But one of the recent discoveries was that the Spinosaur actually had a finned tail, making it capable of swimming. So Then we get this image. This is directly from the National Geographic website. This is an image of a Spinosaur and multiple other ancient extinct creatures and dinosaurs brawling it out in the ocean depths. This could have possibly happened on our Earth. This is not like just a movie or something. This is a scene that could have very well played out like 85 million years ago or some shit. Isn't this cool? Man, I would love to get like freaking, what was that, what was that short story? I think it was a Ray Bradbury, The Sound of Thunder. Anybody else read The Sound of Thunder in school growing up? So you got The Sound of Thunder, which is a story about a time-traveling tour guide like agency where you go back into the past to see dinosaurs and shit, and it's like actually I think it's not so much tour guides, it's more of like big game hunting, right? Isn't that The Sound of Thunder? It's been years since I've read it, but you go back and it's like, we're gonna bag me a T-Rex, and you go back and they like, all right, so that dinosaur was gonna get like struck by lightning and killed anyway, so you can only target that one, so that because that way it won't change the future. And of course the whole idea is it's the butterfly effect, so I think somebody ends up stepping on a mosquito or something in the past and that screws up the whole future, and that's like the story. So there you go. It's been adapted into movies a few times, although I don't think any of them were particularly good, but that's what that reminded me of there. But yeah, point is, when Oda redrew when he drew page 1 going into his Spinosaur form a couple chapters ago with Ulti, when Ulti transformed into a Pachycephalosaurus, I can remember how to pronounce that. You see page 1 in the background as a Spinosaur, and you do see it, it's obscured, you see the fin tail. So somebody caught that, and Oda's like, oh, you noticed it, indeed. Since page 1's introduction, they found a fossil that is part to be a Spinosaur that has fins on the bone structure of the tail. And paleontology, did I say arthropology earlier? Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean arthropology, I meant paleontology. But yeah, paleontology is making new discoveries every day, which they are. Let's see here. Okay, this is a good one. This is another big one. We get a lot of information dumped here. This is one on the Oniwabashu members. Okay, the ninja, Orochi's ninja squad. Okay, I guess Kaido's ninja squad right now. We get the names of every member of the Oniwabashu. We get their heights. They're all pretty tall, except a few are kind of short. Actually, no, more of them are average size. There's a few of them that are taller than average. And then we also get their secret ninja move. This is awesome. Okay. So, first we have Fuku Rokuju with his mighty forehead, although not quite as epic as Strawberry's. And he's 2.2 meters tall, so pretty tall dude, but that's mostly forehead. And his special ability is Ninja Style Earlobe Cracker. So his earlobes, on top of his, forehead being super tall, his earlobes are also super, like, dangly. And so I guess his secret ninja skill, Earlobe Cracker, is he just swings them around like whips and like cracks people's skull with them, I guess. So yeah, that's his special ninja power. It's a little bit goofy. The others aren't quite as goofy as that. They're still pretty goofy. Next up is Daikoku, who is this big guy right here. Daikoku was the ninja that was like when Orochi was going like rampage nuts in the hall, and they're like, "Oh, Daikoku, you need to stop him." And Daikoku was the one that was like, the Orochi, the Shogun Orochi is a free man. He can do whatever he so desires, even destroy his own castle, So, he was that guy. He is 4.3 meters tall, so he's a big guy. And his special ninja skill is Metamorphosis Jutsu, or Henshin Jutsu. He transforms into things, right? Here's the thing. We'll get more into these as we go down, but I just want to reference a few things. Okay, next up we got Hanzo. Hanzo was one of the few that were already named already. Hanzo was the big guy in the yellow ninja outfit that was in the roof that encountered Shinobu, and he was the one that's like, oh, you're Shinobu, the man killer. I guess she was the lady killer too. You're Shinobu. And like, oh wait, no, you're not. Sorry, I mistake. And then Shinobu used the ball crushing jutsu on Hanzo. So that's probably Shinobu's special skill right there. Hanzo is 5.4 meters, so far I think he's the tallest. Yeah, he's the tallest. He's 5.4 meters, he's the tallest, and his ability is floating jutsu, or like Fuyu jutsu. He can float, which makes sense because he was in the rafters. So he's this big guy, and he's just like, special ninja skill ability. Ooh, and then he just floats up into the ceiling. Next we have Sarutobi. Sarutobi, 3.7 meters. He's this guy, and his ability is illusions, or genjutsu. Alright, so Sarutobi, here's the thing. Oda and Kishimoto were rivals, but they were also close friends, so you immediately want to say those are references to Naruto.
But the thing is, Naruto, the whole point of Naruto was it was a ninja-based story. So Kishimoto took a lot of references from, you know, ancient Japan and feudal Japan and different folklore and different ninjas that actually existed. Sarutobi Sasuke. I don't remember if Sarutobi Sasuke was a folklore ninja or a real ninja, but that comes from something else. All right, so I know I immediately hear the name Sarutobi, I immediately think Hiruzen or Asuma from, you know, from One Piece, not from One Piece, from Naruto, right? I immediately think of those characters. When I think of Genjutsu, I immediately think of, like, Itachi, right? But no, these characters, I'm sure Oda was thinking of Naruto and Kishimoto when he, like, named them Sarutobi and stuff like that, but also the reference is, it goes beyond that, right? Okay. It's kind of both, I think, that Oda's hitting here. That's Sarutobi's ability. Sarutobi's 3.7 meters. Then, Kazekage. Yes, Kazekage, literally just translating to wind shadow. So, Gaara's in this story now. I think Gaara would fit. Gaara and Crocodile, both the Sandmen, they can do sand stuff. I'm pretty sure Gaara would kick Crocodile's ass, especially with Gaara having, like, the gold dust and stuff that he got from his father. But yeah, spoilers. Yeah, Kazekage is this dude with the scroll in his mouth, and his ability is Kuchiyose no Jutsu! He does the summoning technique. What does he summon? We have no idea. We're just gonna have to wait and see. He's one of the normal size, more normal size. He's 1.9 meters. Then we got Jigoku Benten. Jigoku Benten is the woman with the biwa, you know, like with she strums the biwa, and it actually has, like, it's actually like a gun, and she fires the shots at Robin. Jigoku means hell in Japanese, and Benten, I believe, is one of the Buddhist deities or something like that. It ties back to Buddhism. She's 2.2 meters tall, and her special ability is Silent Gun, which is not the name of the technique she used against Robin. I think that technique was like Hellfire Shot, or like Hell was in the title. And then Silent Gun, though, I would imagine it's like a silencer, so she can, like, fire a bullet with no noise whatsoever, because she is a ninja. It's just like, you're a ninja, but here's a gun. I'm like, you know, kind of defeats the stealth concept, you know what I mean? So it makes sense that she would have a special ability that allows her to fire a silent bullet. Then we have Fujin and Raijin that are both the same. They're 2 meters tall, and their special abilities are both... Okay, so Fujin is based off of the god of wind, Raijin the god of lightning. So what do you think their special abilities are? You think, like, you know, you think Raijin would be like, electric, lightning style, Kirin! Why did Sasuke never use Kirin again? Kirin was such a bad... I know it's like you have to set it up and there's a lot of stuff involved to get it, but he only used once in the whole series. I love freaking Kirin. But anyway, so no. It's nothing electrical based or anything. Their special abilities, I guess their brothers, are oil wrestling. So, you know, it's like, Kuchiyose no Jutsu, Genjutsu Ogi, and then oil wrestling. Let's go, Fujin. Let's go, Raijin. You know, and then they just wrestle. They wrestle on their giant wish caches. So, yeah, that's something. Fujin was also cut down by Zoro. That was one of the ninjas that was, like, following Zoro after he escaped into the Hakumai region after the Flower Capital incident with Yasuie. And Zoro actually sliced down Fujin, so I don't even know if he's still around. Then we got Bishamon, who's the short dude with the mustache, and his ability is Water Droplet. He's 1.8 meters tall, so he's Suiten! He's water-style jutsu. Then there's Chome. Chome is the little girl with the flowers in her hair. I believe she used shuriken to throw. She was also really scared by Brooks with his ghost. He's like, oh no, a ghost! And her ability is paralysis jutsu. So she has flowers in her hair. Maybe it's like she uses like a pollen or like maybe a toxin or something in the flowers to make you like paralyzed and you can't move, something like that. That's her special ability. And finally we have Yazaimon, who's the guy that kind of looks like Kortopi from Hunter x Hunter. And their special ability, he's 1.8 meters tall, and his special ability is Ya, or arrow. Just he shoots out arrows with his arms. He has like grappling arms kind of deal. So that's the special ability. Some of them are goofier than others. Some of them are serious. Like I'm curious on how like Kazekage's and other translations, it could be Fukage. It could also be read like that. But I'm wondering like what the summoning technique, what the Kuchiyose no Jutsu is actually going to be. Like it could be something really epic, like Kuchiyose no Jutsu, and then he summons like a giant frog, like from Naruto. I would not put it behind Oda to do that reference. And then you have also, it could be a joke kind of thing that Oda does, where he's like, special ability, Kuchiyose no Jutsu, and it's just like a tiny little, like, or he just carries around like a little pigeon in his back pocket, and he's like, Kuchiyose no Jutsu, and then like sends it away, and I was like, that's what I do. It could be a complete joke, but
ninjutsu in One Piece kind of exists from what we've seen Raizo do and shit. So yeah, I could see him pulling out some serious. Remember that frog that rides on the toad that rides on Usopp's head, Gama Pyonosuke? That might tie back into something. Who knows? And then we have, let's see, a few other questions here. This is a longer one. Orochi has 2 really long, like, prominent teeth, so is that hard for him to eat? And I'm only going to do this question because I can do the Orochi voice again. And Oda's like, well, let's ask Orochi to see if it's hard for him to eat with those teeth. And Orochi says, not at all! Chomp, 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 chomp! Ouch! I am fine! I am Lord Orochi! And Oda's like, it seems he is fine. He is Lord Orochi. Case closed. Here's a question about the gifters. Can the gifters change at will, or are they stuck as their animal form? So this is a question that a lot of people have been curious of, because you see, like, horror shows, like freaking Dobun, the guy that I think it got it worse with the freaking hippo, like, he's inside of the hippo's mouth, you know, like, that's like, God, that's a gamble. And Oda confirms, he's like, yeah, you know, it completely depends on the fruit, you know, they're man-made devil fruits, so they're a huge crapshoot on what you're going to get. They're very unstable. Some of them just get powers of the beast, but others get, like, permanent, like Babanuki has the elephant sticking out, Hold'em's got the freaking lion head next to his crotch. We're just gonna use this file photo for Hold'em. Some of them end up better, like, Speed. Speed just turned into a centaur, that's pretty badass. And then you get ones like Solitaire. Solitaire ended up pretty cool. Solitaire she's a spider monkey gifter, so she just gets a bunch more arms. You know, she doesn't have to deal with, like, a screeching spider monkey head on her shoulder, just being like, ah, ah! You know, she just has, like badass, like, arms that she can use to fight. So, yeah, it's a crapshoot, but, yeah, I don't think Oda really confirms, like, can they change back? Like, even the ones like Speed, I don't think Speed can turn back into a normal human if she wants to. I think she's stuck like a centaur, but she ended up still with, like, the better end of it all because of, you know, just how much of an unstable quantity it is. It's really a gamble. And then the final question is another drawing depicting a Straw Hat at age 40 and 60. I was a little disappointed because I thought Oda said Robin was going to be next, and that was like 3 damn SBSs ago. But it's fine, I can wait. The question is, hey, nobody wants to see Sanji in his 40s and 60s, so I was thinking, could you draw Chopper at age 40 and 60? So we don't get Sanji. We get Chopper at age 40 and 60 in the universe where everything went okay. At age 40, he's just like, leave it to me. I'm Chopper. And I'm imagining he's a way better, you know, he's a way better doctor at that point. And then at age 60, also just more floofy. Probably his fur is probably grayer at this point. He's like, here, this'll work on pretty much anything. And Chopper's whole goal, of course, is to become the doctor that can cure any illness. Like, I will become the, you know, the omnipotent medicine, so to speak. I will become the medicine that can be used all purpose and that can be used in everything. I will cure any disease. So that's what I think age 60 Chopper, like, his dream has been realized. He's a better doctor than even Dr. Kureha, and he's like, you know, this medicine will cure whatever ails you because, not because of the medicine, but because I'm the doctor that made it. I also saw a comment that I thought was hilarious, and it said age 60 Chopper would basically just be like Uncle Iroh from Avatar: The Last Airbender. And yeah, I could see that. That's adorable. I could definitely see that. And then finally, in a future where things don't go well, we have age 40 Chopper looking a lot more beastly, like more, like he's in human form, but he's also like animal form, like his deer is really showing there, and he's all beaten up and stuff, and his antlers look all like broken and craggly and stuff, and he's like, Straw Hats, don't mention that name to me. That's actually really sad, because what that made me think of is either 2 possibilities. Either, number 1, this is a future where all the Straw Hats die, except for Chopper. Like, Chopper manages to get away, and all the other Straw Hats, like, die at Wano. And then, like, you know, he's, Chopper's only 17 right now, so this would be, like, 23 years in the future when he's 40 years old. And he's just like, no, don't talk about the Straw Hats. We used to be friends, but they all died. Just leave me alone. And he's just, I can imagine him just being a rampaging mythical beast that just lives in the forest. And he's just like, just leave me alone. Or, other option, remember the episode of Teen Titans? Not Teen Titans Go, the first one. Remember the episode of Teen Titans where Starfire gets sent into the future? Yeah, that was the season 2 opener, if I remember correctly. That was a freaking uplifting episode, was it not? I mean, I guess the ending was, but damn, that episode was depressing. Where she goes into the future and, like, the Titans, they're all still alive, but they're separated, they're not friends anymore, and Beast Boy is a sideshow attraction, and freaking, well, Robin is freaking Nightwing, which Nightwing is probably like one of my favorite DC like heroes ever, so love Nightwing fans represent, damn it. But Nightwing's badass, but like Cyborg's like all like his power cells are dying, and he's in the Titan Tower, and he's like, I can't leave, and he's just like a grizzled old man. It's like, get out of my tower. And freaking Starfire got jumped in the future, and then Raven is just shut herself off completely, and she's in that just like completely featureless white room in like an abandoned apartment building, and she's just like, have no friends, all gone, they all leave you, nothing. That's what I picture like Chopper at age 40, like no friends, no such, like he's like forgetting how to even speak, kind of like he's like, no such thing, friends die, no friends, just me. I know, this and the strawberry question, I'm taking these to really dark places, I apologize. And then we amp it up even further. Age 60 Chopper, where something went wrong, is just like, bring in the sacrifices now! Okay, so what happened there? That was the last question. What happened in the freaking, like, he goes, no friends, just me. And then like 20 years later, he just becomes like, you know what? Screw it. I won't become friends with anyone. I'll just become like the forest god. Like, I am God Chopper. He just turns into his monster point, and like everyone's terrified of him and just like presenting him sacrifices and just like, yes, we need to feed the monster in the forest lest he destroys our town. And Chopper just like, he just goes completely into the character. He's lost every other reason to like be around. So he's just like, I will be the great demon of the forest. It's what humans always called me, so I will become it. Bring me the sacrifices, peons. Okay, that's really dark and messed up, but I'm not lying. I kind of want to see a spin-off of that. You know, just like, I'm curious, if nothing else, right? Okay. But anyway, that was a particularly long Shitsumo Oboshu Suru, so thank you guys for showing up for this. It's a long time coming, though, for a few, yeah, because it's been delayed for so long, and also this was also part of the list, so I guess it makes sense it was a longer video. So yeah, thanks for watching, everybody, and now I'm going to enjoy this slightly less warm, but, still quite nice muffin, this berry muffin. And I'll give some to Barry, too. Don't worry about it. Oh, one more thing I wanted to ask you guys. What Halloween costume... I might do this a Twitter poll, too, but what Halloween costume is Barry going to have this year? Because last year, I can make him Halloween costumes, but we got to figure this out now, right? Barry already told me it's up to the will of the people. Whatever the people want him to be. So comment below, and I might put a poll up on, like, the community tab or Twitter on what Barry's Halloween costume is going to be this year. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. Tekking, signing out.